Today we're going to be talking about multiplying and dividing rational numbers, specifically fractions. So you need a blank piece of notebook paper and you need to put your normal header on that paper. You also need to have this as your title. Multiplying and dividing rational numbers. Okay, today as we are taking notes, you need to copy the problem, you need to show all of the steps that I'm doing on the board, and you need to write your final answer. So everything that's going to appear up here on the smartboard needs to be part of your notes. All right, the first one that we're going to look at is -4/5 multiplied by +3/7. A negative multiplied by a positive is always a negative, so we know our final answer needs to be negative. Just like before when we were working on multiplying fractions, we're going to multiply straight across. So we've got -4/5 multiplied by 3/7. That's what the parentheses mean. We're going to multiply since there's no symbol. Okay, we're going to multiply straight across the numerators. 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 7 is 35. And just like we mentioned before, a negative multiplied by a positive is a negative. So your final answer is -12/35. If we look at that, there are no common factors between 12 and 35, so we can't simplify it, and we'll just leave our answer as -12/35. Okay, number 2 in your notes is -3 multiplied by 5/6. We need to start by writing -3 as a fraction. So we can always do that by making it out of 1, because -3 divided by 1 is -3. So we're just rewriting the number. So below that, we can write -3 over 1 multiplied by 5/6. Okay, just like the last one, multiply across the numerators. A negative multiplied by a positive is a negative. 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 6 is 6. Now this time we can simplify the fraction, and we can also write it as a mixed number instead of an improper fraction. So let's simplify first. We're going to divide on top and bottom. We're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by a common factor. So think of a number that goes into 15 and 6. Okay, 3 is going to be the number that we need. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So we have the fraction 5/2. And then we need to write that as a mixed number. 5 divided by 2. We can just set that up like a division problem. Top dog goes inside the doghouse. Bottom dog sleeps outside. 2 goes into 5 2 times, with 1 left over. So we can either change it to a decimal and bring down zeros, or we can just rewrite that as 2 and 1/2. So the number that we get when we divide, that's going to be our whole number out front. What you would normally use as your remainder, that's going to be your new numerator. And your denominator is going to come from the number that you divided by. So that's how you can change your improper fraction into a mixed number if you need to. Quick reminder, when you are working on your homework later on and in advisement today, make sure you have your notes out in front of you. All of the examples that we are doing in class are going to be like the problems that you have in your homework. So make sure you have those notes out as a reference as you're working. All right, the next one that we are going to find the product of, we're going to multiply -5 and 1/4 by -3 and 1/2. The first thing that we need to do is change our mixed numbers into improper fractions. So we're going to take 4, multiply it by 5, and then add 1. So 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 is 21. Denominator stays the same. If it was negative up above, we're going to keep it negative as we rewrite it below. multiplied by, okay, negative 3 and 1/2. We're going to have our negative sign. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. So we have negative 7/2. Now it's a multiplication problem just like the ones that we've already seen. So we're going to multiply across the top, across our numerators. A negative multiplied by a negative is a positive, so we don't need a negative sign out front. And we're just going to multiply out 12 times 7. So off to the side if you need to, I'm sorry, 21 multiplied by 7. So off to the side, we're going to write 21 multiplied by 7, and just take a moment to multiply that out. Okay, you should get 147 as your new numerator, and your denominator, we're going to do 4 times 2 to get 8. Okay, and then we need to change 147 eighths back into a mixed number, so we're just going to divide. 147 divided by 8. 8 goes into 14 one time. There are 6 left over. Bring down your 7. 8 times 8 is 64. And you're going to get 3 left over. So we're going to write our new mixed number as 18 and 3/8. Just like before, what you used to call your remainder in elementary school, that is now your numerator. And you're going to put that over the number you were dividing by as your denominator. So 18 and 3/8. And again, that's positive because negative multiplied by a negative is a positive. All right, now we're going to look at dividing. So when we're dividing fractions, just like last week, we are going to keep the first number just like it is written. We are going to change division into multiplication, and we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to flip over our second fraction and make it negative 9/4. All right, negative multiplied by a negative is a positive, so our final answer will be positive. And then we're going to do 1 multiplied by 9 is 9. 3 multiplied by 4 is 12. And we get 9/12 as our answer. Final step, we need to simplify the fraction. A common factor of 9 and 12 is 3. So we're going to divide the numerator by 3, divide the denominator by 3, and we're going to get 3/4 as our final answer, or as the quotient to that problem we just divided. All right, next up, we need to rewrite the whole number in fraction form. So just like we saw before, anytime you have a whole number, you're just going to divide it by 1 or put it over 1, and now you have a fraction. Okay, we're dividing again, so first fraction stays the same. Change division to multiplication and multiply by the reciprocal. So instead of negative 2 over 1, we're going to have negative 1/2 as our new fraction. Negative multiplied by negative is a positive, and then we're just going to go straight across. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 2 is 8, so our final solution is 3/8. Okay, final example for right now. This time we have some mixed numbers, so we need to change them into improper fractions first before we can do anything else. So we're going to do 8 times 1 plus 1 to get negative 9/8. I'm going to leave it as division right now until I've converted everything. 4 times 2 plus 1 is 9. Denominator stays 4. So that's negative 9/8 divided by negative 9/4. Now it looks just like the last example that we did. We're going to change it, rewrite it negative 9/8 multiplied by negative 4/9. And then we can multiply straight across. Negative times negative is a positive. 9 multiplied by 4 is 36. 8 multiplied by 9 is 72. And both of those have a common factor of 9. So we're going to divide it by 9 in numerator and denominator to simplify. We're going to get 4/8. Again, we've got another common factor, so we can divide by 4. And we're going to end up with 1/2 as our final answer. Now on this one, you might have noticed that we multiplied by 9 and then we divided by 9. There is a shortcut that you can use if it makes sense. If this doesn't make sense, then you can just keep multiplying like you have been. However, if we look at the 9 here and the 9 here, that's really like we have the fraction 9/9. Okay, the fraction 9/9, if we divide by 9, top and bottom, is really 1/1, or just 1. So if I rewrite this, instead of 9/9, I can simplify these and make it 1. It's simplifying just like I did over here. I'm just doing it before I multiply. Okay, if we look the other way, we can simplify 4/8. Okay, the fraction 4/8, just like we already saw, if we divide by 4 on top and bottom, we're going to get 1/2. So instead of the 4/8 that we have written here, I can rewrite that as 1/2. Okay, if I rewrite the fraction that I have right underneath, negative 1/2 multiplied by negative 1/1. Okay, now I've made my numbers a lot smaller and a lot easier to work with, but I'm going to multiply just like I normally do. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. 2 times 1 is 2. And I'm going to get the exact same answer that I got when I did it the other way. So again, if the simplifying makes sense, great, go ahead and use it. If it doesn't, just do it like we did the other ones, and you will still get the same answer. It might just be a few extra steps, and that's okay. All right, now that you have all 6 examples in your notes, here are 3 practice problems for you to try. I want you to write the problem, show your work, and clearly write your answer. All right, now that you've had a chance to try those, we're going to have a chance for you to check your work. So number 1, we're going to rewrite it as negative 6/5 multiplied by negative 2/1. Negative 6 times negative 2 is 12. 5 times 1 is 5. And that would be rewritten as 2 2/5. And that's positive, since a negative divided by a negative is positive. Okay, number 2 on your paper, we would first rewrite just our mixed number as an improper. So that would be negative 8/3. Okay, I haven't changed it to multiply yet. We got to do that step in between. So 1/3 divided by negative 8/3. Now we can rewrite it as multiplication. 1/3 multiplied by negative 3/8. Okay, 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. 3 times 8 is 24. And that will simplify down to be negative 1/8. All right, and our third practice problem for today, negative 1 cubed, means we're going to do negative 1 multiplied by itself 3 times. Negative 1 times, negative 1/2 multiplied by negative 1/2 multiplied by negative 1/2. Okay, we're going to do this one step at a time, show each one. Negative 1/2 multiplied by negative 1/2 is positive 1/4. Bring down multiplied by negative 1/2. Negative 1 multiplied by negative 1, positive 1 multiplied by negative 1 is negative 1. 4 multiplied by 2 is 8. So final answer on number 3 is negative 1/8. Please check to make sure you did not put 6 as your denominator. That would be 2 times 3. And we're not doing 2 times 3. We're doing 2 times itself 3 times. 2 times 2 times 2, which will give you 8. All right, now that you've had a chance to take your notes, you can take tonight's homework out of your record and practice journal and get started on it.